Hello and welcome to the Irn-Cru podcast, the American football podcast made in Scotland by NFL lovers. My name is Keith McGinty, and tonight's podcast is a new one for us. We've not done this one before, where we are going to be tiering the NFC to see where we think that the teams are going to end up, how successful their season is going to be, and who's going to be pretty much dog shit. So, well, to get into this, I'm delighted to be joined by some of the finest crew members and a new crew member in the making. First of all, I'll go to our special guest. We've got Grant with us. Grant is a coach with the Edinburgh Mavericks, and he's going to be helping us out with a wee look at some of the Scott ball teams, hopefully, in the future. Grant, delighted to have you on the podcast. Thanks very much for joining us, mate.
No, thanks very much for having us. Appreciate it.
You yourself, you are a fan of an NFC team. Unfortunately, it's the wrong one. Going by my team. You're a 49ers, yes?
I'm indeed.
Have you always been a fan of Rangers then? Is that what it is? Is that something that draws you to it? No, only kidding, mate. How long have you been a 49ers fan? What drew you to the team in the first place?
Well, initially probably about 15, 20 years ago, I was supposed to move over to the West Coast of the USA. At that point, I said, how can you meet people? How can you get into kind of what they do over there? And American football seemed to be the biggest thing, and the 49ers seemed to be the biggest team at the time. So I just went with that and started watching it, try to get to know more about the game, and then fell in love with it. Support the 49ers ever since.
Amazing. And you've been over to Levi Stadium as well, you were saying? I've
been, It was an unbelievable experience over there. Stadium's huge, like nothing I've ever seen before when you look at the stadiums that we've got in this country. But good fans, good weather, good tailgate, good football players. Can't ask for it more.
Fantastic. Thanks very much. I'm sure we'll hear more about that and some of the coaching that you do as well for the Mavericks in the future. Also joined by Packers fan Liam. Listen, Levi Stadium's not a patch on Lambo, am I right?
Yep, definitely. Of course. Yes, one day I'll get over there. That's the dream. That's the dream of all our as fans over here, isn't it? Try and get out over for a game. So one day.
My youngest hasn't picked a team yet, so my wife chose the Eagles, and this was before he's won your Super Bowl. She just likes the teal colour, I think it is. So she's an Eagles fan. My oldest is a 49er, so I'm trying to get the wee man into the Packers. I just think that'd be a good wee trip for us to go to see Lambeau. So that's the dream, to get him there so I can go for a wee nosy. And also joined by Super Bowl champion supporting Kev, and newlywed Kev as well. Congratulations, mate.
Thank you very much, Keith. Thanks a lot. I've been looking forward to this Eagles Appreciation podcast all summer long, so can't wait to get in it.
It's probably why we've had so many call-offs with the rest of the crew. That's what it is. They know that you're just going to be utter bloating all the way through this. So tonight's podcast, what we're going to do is we're going to take the teams, and you've heard this before, is we're going to tier them. We've got to see who's going to be Super Bowl bound and who's actually going in for the running for the Arch Manning the pick next season. So we'll wait and see how they go on with that. Right, first time we've done this, so fingers crossed that it's going to actually work for us. Right, here we go. Before we get on to that, what did you make of the Super Bowl then, Kev? Because I think this is the first time we've actually seen you since back then.
Well, obviously I loved it. I must say it went even better than I thought it would. I was confident we were going to win it. I'm sure I said that in our preview pod, but I couldn't have imagined just how straightforward a win it would be, especially against the Chiefs, who just have always seemed to be able to find a way over the last few years, but they just had no answer. So I think that's why I'm going to be insufferable, because we were just so good.
Absolutely are. So we have 5 tiers for this one. We've got our Super Bowl bound teams, and we've got championship contenders, those who are going to make a right good shot of it, but might just not have enough to get over the final hurdle to get to the Super Bowl and compete on behalf of the NFC teams. We've got our postseason party, boys, to see who it is that's actually going to put up a wee bit of a surprising performance this year, those who are going to actually make it in comfortably into the postseason, but just not quite have it enough to get there. Those that have got a rebuild season, not quite going to get to the off season. They'll be in Cancun before everybody else, and the team that's they're really just going to not quite tanking, but we know it's pretty much going to look like that. So as our teams, guys, have we agreed that we've got the Eagles as the first team to go into our Super Bowl?
I thought that was just a tier just for us, to be honest. That top one. Or are you going to create another tier just for the Eagles?
It's the Eagles. They've got anything to say against them. They've still got Saquon. He seems to be still fit. AJ Brown's still there. The weapons that you've got. Have you lost any of your coaching staff yet, Kev?
No, not as far as I'm aware. No, in fact, I tell a lie. Kellen Moore's away again, is he not?
Yeah. Kellen Moore.
So
is it Saints he's away to?
Aye. So I mean, the thing is, it's great. Last year we got a lot of criticism for running the ball too much, not throwing the ball enough with the wide receivers that we've got. So I'm not sure, how that's going to impact us. Obviously, you win a Super Bowl, you want to try and keep your consistency. But I think for me, the most exciting thing for me is the.
Let's say that again, Kev.
I think he's frozen, isn't it?
Oh, there we go.
No technology.
What about yourself, Grant? Eagles, I don't think we can really argue against that. The performance that they put in. For me, the biggest
I don't think we
surprise
can argue against it.
I think it was, for me, it was just how bad they had been in the final stretch of the previous season. For them to turn it around so quickly last year was really surprising.
Just to see how much they pretty much bullied the Chiefs in that Super Bowl.
Yes.
I don't think we can go against a repeat of that.
I think there's a really good chance of it. Liam, I take it you're agreed with the Eagles Super Bowl bound. They've got a good chance of that.
I think, yeah, obviously logically, but I suppose the only thing would be the old Super Bowl hangover. Will they get something like that often kicks in for the teams often? So that'll be interesting to see if there's any of that at all. But yeah, you can't really argue. I just haven't really lost anyone of note that I'm aware of. So can they run it back? But so yeah, definitely will be in the mix anyway.
Right, Grant, we're going to come to you next for your 49ers. I'm interested to see where you feel your team's going to actually fit in. We were talking before the pod started about just how you guys were able to have the Avengers of the NFL for so long, paying the highest paid rates for so many positions. Does it feel like you've missed your window, or is there still a chance there?
It feels like we've missed it. Like you said, I think we've overpaid for some of our stars that some are now want away. We've got injuries. Heart says one thing, head says another. I think we're just missing too many offensive weapons. Ayuk's out for we don't know how long. Joanne Jennings is want away. Ricky Pearsall still unproven. CMC, we don't know what he's going to be like this year. Has he fully recovered? Is he not? Is he going to last 3 games and be out again? So I think if we're lucky, it'll be a postseason party. But I might be edging towards another rebuild season.
No. I did feel that the fall is going to be a bit more than what we anticipated, but you've still got Shanahan as your head coach there. He'll make up for the deficiencies in the team. And am I right in saying Salah's come back to run the defense there?
He is.
That's a shrewd move from you guys. That's one that does worry me a wee bit. I think if you guys can stay lucky and stay healthy with some of your players, then I think that's going to be a big difference for you.
I think that's I think the defence gets spoken about a lot. They don't just get enough credit because we're looking at the offensive side of the ball too much, which makes me think post-season party. We've got probably arguably the best linebacker in the league, one of the best edge setters, so could be good with Salah at the helm.
Liam, what about yourself? What are you thinking?
No, I suppose much the same. I think certainly the defence, I think could do well with the players they've got, with Bosa there and stuff like that. And Shanahan always seems to do something with the players he's got, but you always seem to get kind of knocked by injuries all the time. He always seem to. It's injury after injury after injury the last couple of seasons. So that seems the perspective it seems to be from the outside, I suppose. So can they get healthy, stay healthy? I suppose that's always the crux of the matter for a lot of teams. But yeah, but I still think they'll be in the mix to some degree. Whether they can, I suppose maybe come on to some of the other teams later, like so the Rams have got their own problems as well, with potential injuries to a keeper. So yeah, it'll be. Can they just get enough in the division to get in there? I wouldn't put it past them, to be honest.
Absolutely. Kev, welcome back, bud. I swear it wasn't your timer was up and the gloating about the Eagles. That's definitely not it.
Technical difficulties at this side.
Brock Purdy and George Kittle, are they musts for your fantasy teams? Because I suppose that's all he's really got to throw at this year, unless Ricky Pearsall's going to have a proper breakout season.
Yeah, well, I've got Purdy in a couple of leagues, so I'm hoping that he's a big year this year. But yeah, I think the Niners understand why the fans are a bit pessimistic, because they've been so good lately and they do seem to be on the decline. But I still think they're good enough to make it to the playoffs.
For me, it's just whether they can keep CMC fit to have that other option for them. Then that seems to be it. Injuries definitely seem to be a big problem for them. Will we go as high as championship contenders, or are we thinking postseason party for the 49ers?
I'd say postseason party seems about fair.
Yeah, I would say the same.
Yeah, right. I would go with that.
Okay. Happy with that. Right. Okay. Liam, we'll come to you for your Green Bay Packers. You must have, like all teams, been thoroughly optimistic for the season ahead, but it seems to be all going wrong, and injuries again seems to be the main issue with you guys. What's been going on with the Packers?
Yeah, we seem to be every training session, and we seem to be losing another player. So yeah, we seem to have lost all our wide receivers that we have hundreds of, or perceived hundreds of. And then already Love is already injured. He had an operation on Monday in his left hand, so it's not really great to lead into a season, but a couple of weeks yet to get healthy again. So fingers crossed, because I think that was a problem last season with Love. He just wasn't healthy really for a lot of it. He got injured, first game of the season against the Eagles. He got another injury. I think he was his groin he pulled. I think later on he just was never really fully fit. So if we can keep him healthy, I suppose. I think we're in the mix, but the only worry is there's always been the problem with us is have we got enough blue chip players, as it were? We've got lots of wide receivers. Have we got the X factor there now or not? We drafted Golden, who seems to be doing well in camp. There's lots of good reports for Golden actually in camp. Maybe because there's no other wide receivers to play. That's possibly part of the problem, but he's doing it anyway. So, so it's just whether we can get over the hump. Again, last season, division's going to be really competitive again. All the teams, it's probably the best division last year, competitive-wise. It's whether we can win our divisional games, which we couldn't do last season, really. So it's the hope we can. I don't think we've got any worse. It's just whether we've got a lot better, improved enough to really kick on, I suppose.
There's a new head coach over in Chicago, and which when he was asked in his initial press conference what he was going to miss most about being at Lions was beating the Packers twice a season. I'm not sure how that's going to go down too well in Green Bay.
I did see that. I suppose that's just plain to your media, isn't it, that one? So
I suppose.
I think LaFleur got asked about it. I'm sure he was being the bigger person, and I think he said nothing much about it. Just blew it off sort of thing. So, but I'm sure he's locked that one away somewhere. So yeah,
absolutely. That'll be motivation for the upcoming season. What about the Packers then? Always a 13 good defense there. Got a couple of good tight ends as well. Running backs, Liam. Who's going to be keeping his going this year?
Well, I've still got Josh Jacobs. He's also had a great season last season. We kind of relied on him going into the stretch. So as long as we can keep him healthy, I don't see he doesn't seem to be slowing down anyway. He's getting a wee bit older for a running back, but he's doing it. Certainly seems to be the upgrade after we moved on from Jones last season, and then we've still got Lloyd, who was drafted last season, but he was injured all last season. Again, talking about injuries, so when he gets in the training field again, he seems to be a bit of spark, a bit of speed about him. So if he can stay healthy, a bit of complimentary back maybe might help as well. So yeah.
Okay, where would you put your Green Bay Packers then, and the tiering for the upcoming season?
I'll definitely think we can definitely get into the post. Well, we should be good enough to get into the postseason if things work out. It's whether we can get to the championships. That's maybe, I don't know. I'll be slightly pessimistic and go postseason.
Well, guys, what do we think? Has he been a wee bit too hard on the Packers there? LaFleur has been there, done it. He knows what to do, how to get the most out of his team. Like we said, though, the division's a tough one to get out of.
Yeah.
Postseason party, championship contenders, still a young team.
Aye, I think the issues they face are, number one, the division that they're in, but number two, I would be slightly concerned because 2 seasons ago they looked like they were really starting to build something, and last season, but whether it was injuries to Love and a few others, they just seem to kind of go backwards a bit.
Yeah.
So I think post-season party. I don't think they're quite in a rebuild, but I think post-season party.
Yeah. Grant, happy with that?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think a fit Jordan Love, you're always in with a chance. I can definitely see them being in the playoffs.
Excellent. Okay, from there, where will we go next? Kev, you can choose. Where will we go next?
How about you give us your Seahawks?
Go on then. Do you know what? I'm quite excited for this year coming.
Oh, really?
Season 2 of McDonald, and I think it's definitely a rebuild. There's definitely on that, but I think we're on the right side of the rebuild. The defense is starting to come together. We've got some really, really good young players. I think this is going to be the year that we see Jackson Smith and Jigba really establish himself and probably do it a wee bit more than DK Metcalf has done in the past couple of seasons. We know that Metcalf's good. We know.
What about quarterback?
Well, that's the thing. Darnold did it last year with the Vikings, and he proved that he's certainly capable enough. But he had a good head coach there, and O'Connell really guiding him through. Whether he's got that confidence now and he feels that he is actually able to show that he could be the man, that's the only thing for me. I think it'll be, if I was to pitch it, I would say postseason party again. I don't think we're quite championship contenders yet, but I'm looking at his progression from this team. Maybe in a similar way that we would say that the Lions have been doing in the past couple of years, just building on it a little bit each season. It's going to be a really tough division for us, even if the 49ers are, if we're saying getting into postseason, but possible chance of a rebuild, it's still going to be hard, those divisional games. And I think that's the first game actually for the 49ers and the Seahawks is one of the rivalries games. So I'll be really, really excited to see how we do in week 1 there. For me, I'm going to say postseason party. I think we just missed out last year. I'm going to go postseason party for the Seahawks. What do you guys think? Grant, I'm coming to you for this one.
I think you've got a good chance for postseason now. You've got some great receivers. I'm right in saying Cooper Kupp's now with the Seahawks. I think
Yes, indeed.
arguably first or second best receiver room in the NFC West, arguable between yourself and the Rams. So
Yep.
Sam Darnold can sling it. We've seen that last year. He had the offensive weapons at the Vikings. I think he's got enough at the Seahawks to get you there.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Liam, Kev, we happy with postseason party there?
Yep, sounds good.
Yeah. I actually had the my first NFL game was the one at Spurs Stadium last year, and it was the Vikings versus the Jets. So I got to see Darnold in first hand, and impressive game. It was exciting stuff. Hopefully we can see a wee bit of that. Gino did wonderful for us, and many exciting big plays from him. I think we're just needing that wee bit more calmness in there, and hopefully Darnold's got the experience now. In last year is certainly good stead. So yeah, looking forward to that. Right, postseason party for the 49ers. Okay, let's get down a wee bit then. Let's go to the potential dregs of the conference. Will we go Carolina Panthers? Who wants to start?
Sorry, I'm surprised you went to the Panthers when you talked about the dregs. I'm actually think they're going to surprise a few people this year.
You think? Right, go,
Yeah.
Kev, tell us why.
I don't know. I just think they've added a few pieces. They've got a couple of good young wide receivers. Is that where Rico Dowdle's went?
Yes, he did. Yeah, he did. Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, they've got Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdle, so they've got a good one too at running back. I think that they might surprise a few people this year. I thought when you talked about the dregs of the conference, I thought you were maybe leaning more towards like the Saints.
We can go to them. We can go to them next. Bryce Young, of course, was benched towards the start of last season, but came in at the end of the season and did really well in the last couple of games. So much so that I've actually picked him up in a couple of my fantasy leagues, just hoping that he's going to get a wee bit of protection there, because there was a reason he went number one in the draft. The guy's a talented player. I know CJ Stroud has kind of outshone him with the Texans, but maybe if a wee bit of protection there for them and some targets for them there, that could do wonders for the boy. Anybody else? What you thinking, Liam?
I'm like with Kev. I think they're definitely in the rebuild kind of section. I think they're. I think Young. I think he hopefully does another step. They drafted McMillan, didn't they? Wide receiver. So got a target for him. And then I suppose still got those workhorse or stalwart of Thielen, don't you? I'm sure he's still going for another season. So he's still there, still going strong.
The safety blanket himself.
Yeah. I think, as you were saying, kind of end of last season, they kind of proved a wee bit of concept of the vision, maybe. So it's just whether they can keep building. I think that's what I think. I don't think it could have got any worse at the start of the season. It wasn't looking pretty at all. So to come out of the season, I think with a bit of hope last season, and then I think just see if they can kick on a wee bit. I think they'll be competitive. Certainly compared to what they've been the last few seasons. So yeah, certainly on the up, I think.
Andy Dalton coming in last season, and then I think he got injured, and that was why Bryce Young actually had to go back in, and he did take that chance. He did prove himself well. I'm trying to think. We've got Xavier Legette coming off his rookie season. Yeah, hopefully he can come on. And Kev, I think me and you we're quite fans of Tommy Tremble, the tight end there. Hopefully he can get a couple of receptions there for him. Grant, where would you put the Panthers then? Are they still the doldrums of the league? Or are they on the rise?
I think there's one or two teams worse off. I think if they get a couple of pieces for their offensive line, protect that quarterback, I think there's a good chance of maybe pick up 5 or 6 wins this year.
Yep. I think so. We're still going for rebuild season then for the Panthers.
Yeah, I think rebuild.
I think that's fair. Right, okay. Right. There we go. Okay. Carolina Panthers. Kev, you were surprised that I mentioned the Panthers then, just going in previous form. You mentioned the Saints. Let's go for the New Orleans Saints there. What are we thinking for them? Liam, you want to start us off on this?
The Saints, yeah, I'm kind of like with Kev. I think I don't see them doing too well this season, unfortunately. The QB battle, is it Rattler and is it Slot? I don't know. Is it the new QB Slot? I don't know how to pronounce it. But anyway,
Shuff or something like that. It's such a hard name to pronounce. There's some cracking names. That's probably one of the trickiest ones. It's Shuff or Shoch. I can't remember exactly how I heard it on a podcast earlier on today, but I'm struggling with that one myself.
So yeah, and obviously they lost. Also, I suppose that was a big thing early in off season when Carr obviously decided to retire with his injury. So it was a wee bit. Also, was a surprise at the time. So I just worried that they're just a wee bit stuck in cap hell a wee bit still. I think it's probably a reset year. Also, new coach come in. Like, it's difficult because they've still got some good players around them, like in the offense. Like, they've mostly still got Kamara, they've got Olave if he can stay healthy. Shaheed was doing all right again last season. He's not, I wouldn't call him a top wide receiver, but he was doing well. So
yeah.
But I just looking at them, I just think they'll be to the top, the higher end of the draft come draft time. Maybe in the mix again for another quarterback. You never know.
It was the first couple of weeks, if I remember right, Grant, that they really surprised people. I think they battered the Cowboys, and they were such a deep threat. I think it was Shaheed had quite a few long touchdowns, which was maybe a surprise to some people at the time. But then after that, they really did just fall off the cliff big time.
Yeah, definitely a surprise for me. I thought it was a terrible move for Derek Carr. I think the kind of first couple of games, like you say, surprised a lot of people. And I'm thinking, could the Saints actually turn up here? Could it have been the right move?
Yeah.
And then, like you say, fell apart very quickly.
Okay, for are they still quite low down in your estimations then? We think that they'll be fighting it out for the Arch Manning number 1 draft pick next year?
I think so.
I think so too, yeah.
Yep.
I think last season, like Taysom Hill was probably their best player, and he's not getting any younger. So I think that they've got an unproven quarterback going to be coming in, aging skill players. I just think they're going to be in a real struggle this season.
Excellent. Okay. Will we stay within that division then? We'll go to the Atlanta Falcons. Penix is taking over from Cousin there as the number 1 QB by the looks of it. Was that really a surprise? I think after the draft last year, maybe the pick so early on kind of signalled what the plan maybe was for them there. Kirk Cousins is disappointed as he must be. The guy's been well paid to be a backup quarterback. He didn't really have much to say with his performances and just wasn't quite right last year, which paved the way for Penix to come in. What are we thinking there for the Atlanta Falcons for this season coming?
I think it's a rebuild year. I think they've got Drake London's a great player. I think it's maybe looking at how they can build around him and get Penix up there. But hopefully they can get a good bit of chemistry together. Could be on a winner there, but I think it is a rebuild year for them.
Who would you say is the biggest weapon then for this year coming then, Liam?
Bijan.
Well, it would be Bijan, but I think they want it to be London. They want to have the Penix London connection going. If they can get that really firing on all cylinders, then obviously that's that's would be key for the offense, and then allow the run to be more deadly, having that threat, over the top. So, I think as you say, I think they're definitely going to be on rebuild. It's just whether it's always was the Penix only had he had 3 games. I can't remember how many games now he had it in the last season. He seemed competitive. He seemed okay, but I suppose it'd be interesting to see where he goes, if they can, really be the new franchise quarterback for them. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they fare. I think they'll be competitive, maybe 4 or 5 wins. I don't, maybe 6, but I don't know if they'll be.
Yep.
I think they're going to be, I don't think they're going to be anywhere near the postseason. I wouldn't have thought. But then again, stranger things have happened. But yeah, I think definitely rebuild for me.
Rebuild. I quite like Raheem Morris. I remember watching his first team meeting last year and being really impressed with how he came across and the enthusiasm that he's got. Just whether he's going to get the time to properly rebuild this team. It'll be interested to see how Penix does in this season coming. But the biggest thing is just how they utilise Bijan, because it feels, for the talent that the boy has, it just feels underused in the past year or so. So, what we're thinking then? You're thinking, Liam, for a rebuild season for the Falcons. I'm kind of edging towards that myself. I don't think they're going to be a proper crash and burn team. Kev, what are you thinking?
I think I have to agree with the rest of you guys. I would say that it wouldn't shock me, if they somehow made a run to the playoffs, especially because of the division they're in. But I think they've got a lot of good players. It's just too soon to tell how it's going to work out. With Penix coming in as the number 1 quarterback, so yeah, probably rebuild.
We've got a tough, some tough matchups.
Is Kyle Pitts going to be improved this year?
Are we going back to that cold face and get Pitts? This has got to be his last chance, really, hasn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's it. I suppose we'll see how he performs with Penix and under centre. But yeah, as I said, I think it wouldn't shock me if they made the playoffs, but probably too soon to tell.
Okay, right. Rebuild season for the Atlanta Falcons. Grant, where would you like to go next?
I think we'll go Washington. I think there's a good bit we could probably get on them.
So the Commanders last season, they went all the way to the championship game. Am I right? Am I misremembered? Kev, who did the Eagles beat in the championship game?
I'm sure it was the Commanders, wasn't it?
Aye. Yep. Shock of the season. I don't think anybody was expecting Dan Quinn to have such a positive influence on the team. I think most of us were thinking that was down to the QB selection. What did you make of the first year of the Dan Quinn Commanders then, Grant?
I thought they were brilliant. I think you look at how they're playing offensively, it's completely unknown in my era watching football. What's into Washington used to be good back in the day, but the past 5-6 years been awful. I expected much of the same, but Jaden Daniels came in firing. I've seen Scary Terry get up there now as well, and I think adding Debo to it, I think it's just another offensive weapon that you put in the backfield and get them running at people.
Liam, what about yourself? Impressed by the Commanders last year?
Yeah, no, definitely. I kind of echo that. They were just a fun team to watch. They were kind of the new kind of neutral team to kind of root for, I suppose, weren't they? They're just kind of fun to see them winning. Like that. It's just, suppose, if Daniels can keep progressing, you don't want, I suppose, talking about other QBs earlier, like Stroud seemed to have that kind of second year slump a wee bit. As long as Daniels doesn't suffer that, I don't really think he will, but I think he's obviously got the kind of dual. Obviously got his run, can run as well as pass, so he's obviously got that kind of extra element to his game. So I think no matter what, they're going to be any defense is still going to struggle against them. I think so. I think they're definitely going to be fun again to see. I think they're going to be certainly up there. Maybe they overstretched a bit getting to the championships last year game, but Grant was saying, they've brought in Debo now, who's just another kind of unique element to to the team. Just something different they haven't had before. So certainly I think it can only be kind of keep going up. You would have thought.
Mm-hmm. Did they? I might have missed this. Did Scary Terry get a contract that he was after? Because I think he was looking at. No. It's a wee bit of rumblings there.
That's what I was going to say. The only concern I would have, if I was a Commanders fan, is getting Scary Terry to commit. Apparently, they're still a bit apart in terms of the money that they're offering him. He's wanting what DK got. And they're not prepared to pay him that, as far as I'm aware. So I think that's the one worry I would have, because he's definitely the clear number one wide receiver there now. But I still think they're an exciting young team playing really good stuff, and I would expect them to be up there championship contenders again this year.
Absolutely. Right, happy with that. I think that would be a good place to put them. Championship contenders, especially with how they went last year. They seem to have a few more weapons, if you think of it as well. I think that's it. Ertz at tight end, Sinnott as well. He's one that's touted to make a bit of a breakthrough this year as well. So, happy with that. Championship contenders for the Washington Commanders. Right, Kev, you can choose. Where are we going next?
Let's go to the Cards.
Cards it is. Yes, this is an interesting one for me. They seem to have been building quietly for the past couple of years. They've had quite a few high picks, right enough, to get some good acquisitions, some good weapons in there. But I'm quite interested to see how they're going to do. What made you choose them, Kev? Why what's interesting about the Arizona Cardinals?
I'm intrigued because I really don't know what to expect from them this season. I've got no idea. I like watching them. They're fun to watch. When Kyler Murray's scrambling about in the pocket, it's great to great to watch. It's good entertainment. But in terms of like how they're going to perform this year, I was disappointed with them last year. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if there's going to be much improvement this year. Kind of just want to hear what the other guys think.
Certainly a big season for Kyler Murray. Liam had the injury, came back last year. He had his contract renewed, so this is probably like his last chance to probably to get another contract, or do they start to think about moving on from him? They're starting to get the players like Marvin Harrison Jr. He's probably one that they're going to be expecting a wee bit more from this year. What are you thinking about the Cards?
I think Kev's kind of totally right. I think Kyler's kind of a bit strange one in the sense that he's not really had that connection yet with Marvin Harrison, or it didn't seem to be last year yet. Can they get it? I know. I suppose he had the connection with McBride. McBride just couldn't score touchdowns last year. But Kyler's now getting a bit. I can't remember what his age is now, but he's getting a bit older for a running quarterback, I suppose. Slightly, is that old worry? Is that is he going to slow down a touch? If he slows down a wee touch, is that going to be a real, really be a knock on his game? So I say they're kind of in a strange conundrum. As I said, they've got, as you were saying, they've got some good weapons. With Harrison and McBride. I suppose Connor's there, getting a bit older, but they've also got Benson behind him. So they've got they've got a wee bit of depth there, in the offense there. But if they lose if they lose Harrison and McBride, you really kind of worry there's not that much behind it as elsewhere. So. They're not really rebuild yet, but are they getting to that stage? Maybe they're kind of in between, I would think. And I think with the division as well, they're kind of they're definitely on the lower end of the division compared to the Niners and the Seahawks and the Rams. I think you could put them forth probably, arguably.
Yeah. Grant, what about yourself? We see them twice a year. They were plucky, is probably how I would describe them the past season or so.
They're a tough one, and I agree with Liam on that. They lose one or two at a few positions. The depth just isn't there. Kyle's great on his feet, as everybody would agree. He's not got the best arm, and I think that's where they'll struggle. You can't really call it a rebuild year because they've been rebuilding, like you say, quietly for years. It's a kind of tough place where you would actually put them. I don't think they're quite a playoff team.
I just can't see them getting to the playoffs. So that's how I'm thinking. You've got to look at it. They're still building for me. So they have added some great pieces, but I just don't see it yet. I don't think they've got a team that's capable of challenging at the minute.
Yeah, I probably agree with you there. I think we're still quite rebuild, not quite lowering the expectations enough there. They've got so many good players. McBride, James Conner, if he can stay fit as well. Yeah, it's a good team to watch, and hopefully they just go for the points more than anything else. Right, so rebuild season for the Arizona Cardinals then as well. Okay, do you know what? I've been watching the Bear in the past couple of weeks, so let's head to Chicago, Chi-Town. This is going to be a fun season. I'll need to we've got a mutual friend, Grant, who's a big Chicago Bear fan. Kev, would you describe him as he'd probably be optimistic realist is probably how I would describe Grant when it comes to the Chicago Bears. He knows not to get too up on them, but he sometimes can't help himself. He just he wants to get carried away, but he's too grounded for that.
Oh no, I don't know. He certainly gets carried away when it comes to their quarterbacks the last couple of seasons. He's definitely overrating them, but no, I know what you mean. Like overall, he doesn't let himself get carried away.
Yeah, big fan of Tyson Bagent on airs. Right, how is Caleb Williams going to do this year? Is he going to be the first Chicago Bears QB to get the 4,000, the 3,000 even yards? What do you think there, Grant? Is it the Bears going to do it? They're under new leadership there. Having got, I can't remember who's their head coach. They got him from the Lions.
Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson, thanks, Liam.
They're a weird team, aren't they?
Yeah, very weird.
I think Williams will perform really well. I think we'll see a different and more evolved QB that will lead the team and lead them well, but I just don't think they've got enough quite yet. I think they're very much still rebuilding.
Yeah. I'm the same.
Do you know, but and there's a bit in it they can see. I think I've been listening to Grant too much. I'm getting sucked into it a wee bit where I can see them being the Washington Commanders this season, where they could maybe get a couple of lucky results and go on that wee bit of a run and make the championship.
I mean, did they focus on building the O-line this year? Is that what they've done in the draft? Or picking up free agency?
I think they picked up free agents. I mean,
that certainly just depends on how that all goes. If they do protect Williams, and he has a great season, you never know. But I think it's too early. It's too early to say. I certainly, having watched them last season, wouldn't be confident that they're going to make a playoff run. So I think they're still in that rebuild.
It's the weapons, though. How can you not be taking away DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, even the tight ends? You've got Cole Kmet, who was underutilised last year, and Colson Loveland's come into the team as well. That I want to believe. I want them to raise expectations.
Doesn't matter what weapons you've got if your quarterback's on the floor.
That's absolutely true. the Eagles learned from that. Not last season, the season before, so they made amends there. So here's hoping the Bears can do that. Personally, I would go postseason party. I'm headed towards championship contender, but I'm happy to be brought down a notch or two by you guys. What are you thinking, Grant? What are you going for?
I still think a rebuild. I just don't think they've got enough there.
I agree. I agree. I'm with Grant.
Liam, you think that they're going to be going after Arch Manning, don't you?
Well, yes, I know. I should say that, shouldn't I? But no, yeah, a rebuild probably. Yeah, I think it's still rebuild to me until they prove otherwise. They're always, what's the old thing? They always win the off season as they're known to do. So whether they can win the actual regular season, we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, right. I've been outvoted here. Maybe I was getting a bit carried away with myself there. Okay, rebuild season for the Bears. Okay, next up, Kev, you were talking before the podcast how you've been to see the Bucks play. Let's start there then. Raymond James Stadium. That looks fun. It does.
It was fun.
You get to go in the pirate ship.
We were right. Me and my mate were sat right in front of it. So it was pretty cool. It was a great day out. Sunny weather in Florida. Yeah, I recommend a visit there to anybody.
Outstanding. What do you think for the season coming then for the Bucks? Baker Mayfield, of course, defying all expectations last year, and he seems to have kept his weapons again.
They're a fun team to watch, but I think they were really, really unlucky last year with injuries, weren't they? With losing their two main wide receivers in one game, and obviously Evans isn't getting any younger either, so that's a concern. But they've added depth at wide receiver. Got exciting young running backs as well. Well, but they got three running backs in the room there that are all handy. I think they'll be a good team this year. I'm going to say I'm torn between postseason party and championship contenders.
Yep.
I'm going to say postseason party though.
There we go. Grant, what about yourself?
Baker Mayfield's just got it in him. He's been performing well the past couple of years. I think Evans is going to get another 1,000-yard season. I think I don't even know how many he is in a row now, but I know he's up there.
We're up to 11.
As many as that.
You
know he's going to get it. You know he's going to get it.
Yeah.
I think they're just a well-run offense when you watch them. I enjoy watching them. As much as I don't like playing them, I really enjoy watching them. I think they're definitely a playoff team for sure.
They always seem to have a right good defense as well, Liam. I think that's something that they tend to build upon. What's your thoughts on the Buccaneers then, Liam?
Oh, I think for the most part, I think they will be postseason. It'll be interesting now they've lost their OC, went to the Jaguars, didn't he? Liam Cohen, he went over, so interesting to see if that affects off. And then what Godwin is still coming back from is that ankle dislocation that just sounds horrific. But yeah, I think it'd be stupid to kind of bet against them in their division. They've got, as you say, to be in the postseason. As I say, Baker seems to always pull out the bag these days, doesn't he? So,
yep.
Last season was supposed to be a bad season for Baker, wasn't it? As you know, every other year he plays well. So if that was a bad season last year, then the league's in trouble.
Mecca Igbuka is supposedly tearing it up in the preseason just now, so he's certainly one wide receiver to look out for. Maybe take a wee bit of the weight off of Mike Evans, and hopefully him and Godwin can stay fit there for them. There, postseason. We think postseason for the Bucks.
I was torn between postseason party and championship contender. So, whatever you guys think.
I go postseason. I think still.
Yeah.
The thing with them is you've got to remember is the division they're in. They've got a friendly division. If they can get into a good run, get into a good spot for the postseason, then they could well make the championship. That's a really good point, Kev. Let's go post-season party for the Buccaneers then.
Stick with
right. Final five then. Final five. Let's head to the Meadowlands then. Go see the Giants. The Giants. It seems like it is. We were talking before the podcast of how you've got. We've been watching, Kev and I separately have been watching Stranger Things. And one of the things that I've enjoyed about Stranger Things is that each season they've got a new face that everybody recognises from something from the 80s. Well, the New York Giants tend to have a new quarterback for us to look forward to each year. This year, we've got Danger Russ coming in, but also there's is it Jackson Dart coming in there as well, which he seems to be one that's kind of exciting a few people there. Dayball's been looking for his own guy to get in for years now. So yeah, be interested to see how the Giants do. Grant, what's your thoughts on the New York Giants then for this upcoming season?
I don't think they'll be as bad as what people think they might be. I think they're definitely improving their weapons, and I'd be really interested to see how many minutes Cam Skittybo gets. I think he'd be a fantastic running back in the league. So I think when they just unleash those rookies, I think they could be doing a few wins. I think they're very much still in a rebuild, but I'm actually really looking forward to seeing how they operate offensively. I think it could be quite exciting for a change.
Yeah. Liam, what do you think?
No, I kind of echo about that. I suppose the only thing I heard was apparently, I know strength of schedule is always a bit of a non-starter. It's always based on the year before. Apparently, they've got the worst schedule of the whole league, or the toughest schedule of the whole league, apparently. So,
wow,
will that be a factor? But like Neighbours last year was unbelievable, even with the quarterback play he was up against. And then Tracy as well. I know I was talking about the other running back. Tracy, I thought was a good find as well for them. So I think they're definitely still in the rebuild mode, but it's definitely a wee bit up. But I suppose they kind of need to have a good season to keep their. I think if they don't, I think there could be the coach's hot seat will definitely be there quickly. I think it's only a slight worry if they don't. If they. I think the plan is to start Russ to start with. If they stick with him too long and they're not winning, could that just be some bad vibes come out of it and just go a bit sideways quickly? That'd be my only slight worry, I think, with them. Yeah,
Dayball's definitely in the hot seat this year, Kev, especially after Hard Knocks last year. That they did well to survive that. I think they really need to show something, need to show some improvements in that team. To justify getting another year from them.
Yeah, definitely. And again, I think the Grant's right. I think it could be exciting to watch this year. They're definitely building. I still think they're building. I don't think that they're quite playoff ready yet. But I'm looking forward to seeing Russ playing there with the young weapons that they've got in New York. I think he was a good signing for them. They've just moved from one disaster to the other the last few years, letting Saquon go, giving a new deal to Danny Dimes. It's just been a total shit show. But I think they finally look as if they've got a good plan. They're moving in the right direction, and I'll be looking forward to seeing them play this year. But I think they're still in that rebuild mode.
Excellent. Where would we put them then, Grant?
Definitely rebuild, I think.
I think so. Don't think it's going to be as terrible as we're thinking. Right, final four then. Let's fly through these a wee bit quicker. Lions. Detroit Lions. I think everybody's darlings. Because just that Dan Campbell, he's kind of like the Jurgen Klopp of the NFL. You just want to like him, don't you? There's just want to be in his team. You kind of do root for him a wee bit there. I know, Liam, you'll find that a wee bit harder than most of us, but you can understand why people do. Lions, big thing for them last year was injuries. If they can keep their players fit, if they can keep their defensive players fit, then it's going to be a different story for them. Big thing for the Lions, though, Liam, is that they've lost their OC and their defensive coordinator as well. How telling is that going to be on how their season's going to end up?
Oh, well, I suppose that's going to be the storyline, isn't it? Whether whether offense and defense can be as efficient or as effective. But as you're kind of alluding to there, it's definitely a Dan Campbell team. I think you'd be stupid to bet against it. I think even from a Packers viewpoint, sadly, I think they're definitely favourites for the division. They probably arguably should have been in the Super Bowl. You could argue with how they were playing. They just couldn't. If they didn't have so many injuries, they definitely would have been thereabouts. They were thereabouts, but would have been even closer. Yeah. I think they're definitely up there. The Super Bowl championships, I think. They're, sadly to say, they are a fun team to watch. They are, when they're not playing the Packers, that is, they are a good good team to watch and see how they play. I suppose another thing was they always go for the fourth downs. It'll be interesting to see whether that comes back a bit as well with their obviously
is that a Ben Johnson thing, or is that a Dan Campbell?
I think it's a Dan Campbell thing.
I think so.
But then will they become less effective at it? If they won or less 2 fourth down conversions, will that really knock them? I don't think it really will, but it'll be a wee storyline to see whether they're as effective as they have been, with a wee change in coordinator.
Aidan Hutchinson, hopefully he'll come back to full strength. It was a horrific injury for him last year. And Aaron Glenn going to the Jets. We'll talk about the Jets and the AFC teams next week when we do a similar tiering thing for them. But for the Dan Campbell and the Lions, then I'm thinking upper echelons of the league. I think it's losing Glenn, losing Johnson, big problems for him, but I think the personality, the charisma of Dan Campbell, and I think he'll be able to identify talent, will be able to come in, maybe not as good, not hit the ground running, or maybe take a couple of games for them to find their feet again. But I can see them making a late move into the postseason and then possibly championship contenders. Would you agree with that, Grant?
Yeah, I would. You look at the offensive weapons, Amon-Ra, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jared Goff. We know how he operates. I think they're up there.
Absolutely. Kev, you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I was just torn between Super Bowl bound or championship contenders for them. I don't think the changing coordinators will be as damaging to them as it was for us after we made the Super Bowl a few years back because of Dan Campbell. Like Nick Sirianni isn't Dan Campbell, and we need good coordinators. But yeah, it's just maybe championship contenders is about right. I thought we would have to beat them last year to get to the Super Bowl. I didn't think that we would manage to win a Super Bowl without beating the Lions, and we did. So yeah, championship contenders.
Absolutely. Okay. 3 to go. Let's go for the LA Rams. Sean McVay's LA Rams. Just such a well-coached team, and they seem to draft well. Frustratingly, it seems to be a thing for them as well. Grant, start us off then for the Rams. Is there anything stand out about them that you're looking forward to this season, or?
For me, arguably the best receiving room in the West, Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua. And Matt Stafford thrown to them. It's a great setup they've got there. It's just how long can they sustain it? How long will Adams stay in the game, really? We've seen all his struggles last year. But if he's ready to go and fit and firing, I think they'll be up there. I think they're definitely going to be a playoff team.
Yeah. Stafford hasn't been training, but he's getting on. We know he's got back problems. He's it's kind of be accepted and understood that he really doesn't need to put in all this effort at the start. He knows his body, he knows how to look after himself, and he knows how to prepare to be ready for when the season comes. Kev, you thinking that this maybe be his last season at the top level with the Rams, or are they looking to move on from him, or is this going to be another season where he just rolls and rolls?
I think as long as they protect him, he can go on for maybe another couple of years yet. But I love watching the Rams, especially with Puka. He's a great talent, and they do have a lot. They've got Kyron Williams there.
Yeah.
Blake Corum didn't really do much last year. I thought that he might get more snaps, and we might see a bit more of him. So they've still got him to maybe introduce to the attack as well. So I can see them making the playoffs at the very least.
What about yourself, Liam? Kyron Williams, of course, getting his new contract during the summer there, which is fed into James Cook at the Buffalo Bills getting his new deal. I think it was worth at about 11 million. Kyron Williams is getting each for a season, so good deal for him.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of alluding to it. It's just key to keep Stafford healthy. As you say, he's not been practicing. I think they had some sort of, he's been getting injections into his back and stuff like that, epidurals and stuff like that. So a wee bit concerning, but as you say, he doesn't need the training. He just, as long as you can get him fit for week one, that's the main thing. Because I think who's the backup is Garoppolo now. So I don't think Adams will be too happy with Garoppolo thrown to him after last time round in Vegas. So I think Adams will walk. I think Adams might walk away if that happens. So you want to avoid that. But yeah, as long as they keep him healthy, I think they're definitely in the postseason mix. So Stafford, that is.
But we think postseason, is there a chance they could go championship contenders, or is that a wee bit of a stretch for them, you think?
I don't know. I think they could, but I think I'd be more comfortable having them as postseason party.
Yeah, happy with that. Grant, yeah?
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Okay. Postseason party is for McVay's LA Rams. That could be mix up we've got in there. Okay, good. 2 to go. Let's how about them Cowboys? We'll finish off with the Vikings then. Schottenheimer, I can't remember the head coach that they've got promoted from within. Of course, Jerry Jones doing it his way yet again. We're talking about we've got a hold in. Is that right, Grant? With the Cowboys there, it seems to be every off season. There's it's as if Jerry just likes to unsettle the team. And it's as if it's his way to try and wind them up so that they are fired up and they're ready to compete come to the start of the season. It's not worked for about 30 years, though.
No, I don't think we'll see it work this year either. Surely you've got to class Micah Parsons as their star player on that team on both sides of the ball, regardless. He's one of their captains. You think you sign him for as long as you possibly can. He leads that line so well. And I don't know why you're kind of playing with fire there, not getting a contract done. And we don't know if Prescott, I was going to say I forgot the name of the quarterback there.
Yeah.
We don't know what Dak's going to come back like after last year. I know he was out for season-ending surgery. We just don't know what Dak we're going to get. I think last year wasn't particularly impressive until he got injured, obviously. So it's interesting to see how he fires back.
Kev, what do you make of the wide receiver core that they've got there? CD Lamb's come in and George Pickens has joined them as well.
I was going to say they're finally hoping that they've got that wide receiver too now with Pickens coming there. And I think what Grant's saying is right. You just don't know what you're going to get out of Dak. I said before we started recording that I've got no idea what to expect for the Cowboys this season. But I tend to, my gut feeling is that Dak's going to come back strong. I think he's going to have a good season. He's got, that extra wide receiver that he's been looking for. Maybe concerns at running back. Maybe a bit light there. And obviously the Parsons thing's huge. They need to get Micah tied up.
Absolutely.
But if they sort that out, if they get Parsons signed onto a deal, I could see them having a pretty good year this year.
Brian Schottenheimer is the coach, 26 years experience. He's joined by offensive coordinator Clayton Adams, and I didn't realise this is where Matt Eberflus has ended up, defensive coordinator for the Cowboys. So they're such a weird team. Like you said, that roster that they've got, the wide receiver core. I can't remember who they've got in running back. We're just checking that the now.
Is it Javonte Williams, Sanders, and Blue, isn't it? I think it's an interesting.
Yes, Blue is the one. Still got wee Deuce Vaughn still there.
Still there.
Yeah, he's still there. So still hold out hope for him. But interesting one. Ferguson, tight end, one that I'm a big fan of. I think he's one of the best there in the league. Okay, yeah. Them Cowboys, what we thinking for them? Are they going to? If Dak comes back and has one of his good years, I could easily see them making the postseason. Not quite championship contenders though, but it really comes down to how Schottenheimer does in his first year. It really was a name that came out of the blue. Kev, where would you put the Cowboys in?
Yeah, I think they're one of those ones where I wouldn't be surprised if they make the playoffs. As I said, I'm kind of expecting a big year for Dak, but there's also a few question marks. There's also still a few question marks there, so maybe rebuild, but I think postseason party might be right.
Okay. We agree with that, gents.
I don't know. Well, it's a hard division because you've got the Eagles and Washington to get in there postseason. But I'd be tempted to go rebuild, but happy to go.
Get that, yeah, to get that well. We've got to take that into consideration. There is that potential there. Yeah, postseason party, rebuild. Grant, I'm going to give it to you. You get the cast and vote here.
I'd be tempted to go rebuild. I just think the question marks are there. It's just a shame we don't have a wee tiny category in between the two. I think that's probably where they lie. I'm more on the side of rebuild, unfortunately, for them.
I mean, that suits me fine. That's what
that. Right, final one there. It's been fun. No wild card for them. Okay. Last one then. We're going from, I hope nobody's noticed that. I forgot to put the Cowboys in whenever I was putting the logos in to round us off. They seem to be going with JJ McCarthy then as their quarterback. Is that a bold move for you, Liam, or is that the right time to put him in?
I wouldn't say it's a bold move. I think it was always the idea. Even last year the idea was just to have Sam Darnold for a few games and then potentially have McCarthy come in. I think was the original plan. It'll be interesting to see, but again, sadly, Kevin, not a good coach in the division. Kevin O'Connell, he seems to get seems to have them always firing.
Mm-hmm.
They've got, you can get Sam Darnold performing the way he did. You have to probably bet the same for McCarthy. Yep. With their weapons as well, with Jefferson and Addison and Hawkinson. So they're definitely going to be again thereabouts. I think, unfortunately for me as a Packers fan, they're going to be competitive. And their defense is always fun as well. They always seem to do some crazy stunts and pressures and stuff. So keep you on your toes. So yeah, I think they're definitely in the postseason. I wouldn't be surprised if they got to the championships, probably, sadly. But yeah.
Grant, what about yourself? The weapons that they've got, Justin Jefferson is always something special to watch.
Oh, it is, and I would actually argue just behind the Lions, the Vikings last year were one of the favourites to watch. I just thought they played great football. It was exciting at times. Sam Darnold was a revelation. And I'm surprised they never tied him down to at least another year to let JJ McCarthy get more settled, come back from injury. I'm really surprised they let him go. But I think JJ will do well. I think, like Liam said, Addison, Jefferson, Hawkinson, I think they'll be playoffs.
Yeah, Kev, you agree with that then? Yeah, definitely. I think obviously the one question mark is how JJ adapts to the league and how he performs, especially with his injury problems last year. But I think with the rest of the team around him, I'd be very surprised if they're not championship contenders again this year.
Okay, and then that rounds us up. Then I think we'll finish off with the Vikings and the championship contenders. Liam, you happy with that? Well, not happy with that, of course. But
I wouldn't say I'm happy with it. Yeah, that's fine.
O'Connell being such a good coach there. Yeah,
no, that's fair enough.
Hell of a division you've got there, bud, to compete with. Then starting with the race to the first pick next year, you've got the Arch Manning come on down, New Orleans Saints, a rebuild season. That will be continuing for the Carolina Panthers, the Atlanta Falcons, the Arizona Cardinals. It seems to be an eternal rebuild season for the Chicago Bears and the New York Giants. And the final one there is the Dallas Cowboys. Postseason party boys will be the San Francisco 49ers, Green Bay Packers, my Seattle Seahawks, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the LA Rams. And our championship contenders, with a bit of luck, could maybe even push on to the Super Bowl, would be the Washington Commanders, Detroit Lions, and the Vikings. I think a Super Bowl bound for maybe a repeat there is the Philadelphia Eagles, according to your grid, Irn-Cru. Gents, be happy with the final standings there?
Over the moon, delighted.
Subtle.
Absolutely. I think we've been quite fair there. I don't think there's anything obscene about that at all. I think that is. Guys, this has been really, really enjoyable, and it's been a good way for us to blast through the teams, have a wee think about how they've done in the off-season. We'll have a wee look at the AFC teams next week with some of the other crew members. So, yeah, I'll be interested to see how they go on with that. Liam, thanks very much for joining us, bud.
No, thanks. Always good to get back on the pod. Looking forward to the season ahead.
Yeah, very much so. It sometimes takes a wee while for us to get back together, but it's always enjoyable when we do. Kev, thoroughly enjoyed that, bud.
Me too. Keith, thanks very much for having me on. It's a great way to whet the appetite for the season coming up.
Fantastic. And finally, a strong debut there, Grant. Thanks very much for coming on for us, and look forward to hearing more from you on the crew, mate.
Yeah, no, thanks so much for having us on. That was great. Really enjoyed that, guys. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks very much for listening. There'll be more from the crew over the next weeks or so as the season starts, and look out for information on some of our live events that we've got coming up soon as well. Lots going on across Scotland for American football, and we'll hopefully be there to cover it. Thanks very much for listening, and we'll speak to you soon.